What would be the impact on your life if you had complete control of your calendar? You can get it. Think about a mindset change in these four areas. Number one, boundaries. Number two, priorities. Number three, saying no. Number four, last one, think about asking more questions. Welcome to Great Transition Strategies Monday Morning Stand-Up. 5 minutes to get your week off to a great start and potentially give you something to make you a more effective leader so you can love what you do. All right, control of your calendar. How do you feel when I say that, control of your calendar? Do you have it? If you do, good for you. If not, here are things to think about. And I want you, this is not a how-to, this is a mindset change towards your calendar. So think of it as a mindset change, number one. And then number two, visualize your calendar. I like to work in a weekly format, whatever works for you, but think about your weekly calendar as I go through these four areas. Okay, so the first one, boundaries. When you look at your calendar in whatever format, I'm looking at the weekly, do you have boundaries? And the first boundary is for you. Do you have boundaries around time just for you? If you're the leader of an organization, a business, an executive, you are responsible for the strategic direction of that organization. Do you have time set aside for you to have that strategic direction? Many times when I work with executives, they have time, but it's white space on their calendar. And that white space is theirs if it stays white space, which many times it does not. So what do they work on? Their mindset of, I have to have time to set the strategic direction of the organization. Make time for themselves and make time for that. So that's number one for you. Number two, larger context. Look at your calendar. Where are the boundaries? And most of the time, folks want boundaries between home life and work life. Do you have boundaries there, or are they flexible, or do they slide? And does work interrupt your home life? That's a problem. So what do you need to do? So what boundaries do you want? One last boundary to think about. Who can put things on your calendar? Is there a boundary on how things get on your calendar and who could put them on? I'm working with an executive. He tells me, I have 3 9 o'clocks on Tuesday. Well, that means 3 people had the authority to put it on there and decided, I'm putting it on there. My meeting's more important. That's up to you to decide what's more important. Who can put things on the calendar? Now you have to spend time unraveling that. Right, so number one is boundaries. Number two, priorities. Think about the priorities for your organization right now, top 3. And I'll give an example. Maybe it is stakeholder relationships, internal and external. Development of my leadership team. And number 3 is the launch of this new marketing plan for our new product. Now go look at your calendar. What is on the calendar that does not support those top 3 priorities? What has to happen? If it doesn't support them, what has to happen to those? Delegate, remove, what needs to be done there? So think about your priorities. What should be on your calendar? Your calendar, actually, in my opinion, is when you look at your calendar, that's a reflection of your priorities. If you have mundane things in there, you're taking maybe a lower priority that is pushing something else away. Your calendar reflects your priorities. So this is a mindset. I want control of my calendar, I want to reflect my priorities, and I want boundaries. Okay, so these first 2 that I talked about, it's really a mindset. It's about setting up your calendar. Now let's talk about the execution. Next one, say no. One, what am I going to say no to? How am I going to say no? You have your way of saying no to certain things. What do you need to say no to? And are you just delegating those things? Are you just wiping those things off? What needs to happen? You need to make that decision. So as you're looking at that in your calendar, you're looking at your calendar right now, well, that needs to go. Or maybe you're in really good shape and you're doing these things. Congratulations. Right? Last one, ask more questions. And usually this is a way to get to know. Hey, Gary, we need you in this meeting on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Okay, tell me about it. What am I going to bring to this meeting? Do you need a decision from me? What are you looking for? The more questions you ask, the chances are you might not end up in that meeting. Make those individuals come to a good reason on why you need to be there for that. So ask the questions. What do you need me for that meeting? How can I help? How can I help without being at that meeting? Who else can stand in for me? All those kinds of things. So what would be the impact on your life if you had control of your calendar? Think of a mindset change. Think of your calendar being a reflection of your priorities, and think boundaries number 1, priorities number 2, saying no, ask me more questions. Hope you found that helpful. See you next Monday morning, 8:30. Have a great week.